Well, alright, guys, what is going on? How are you all doing tonight? Then this is Luke back here with yet another album review on the channel. I hope you're all having a great and amazing 2021. And all we can do is hope for better and that this is a better year than last year's horse shit. I'm trying my best to stay positive and in hopes that this will be a better year than last year. Hopefully more people will wake up and realize that this pandemic is a scam. And hopefully more people will fucking become smart. I don't know. But I do have high hopes for this year, and I do hope that shit goes well this year for everyone watching this video. Now tonight we are going to be reviewing an absolute thrash metal classic, which is Exodus, Bonded by Blood, released on April 25th, 1985 on Combat Records. I do want to say I'm trying something a little bit different for this video. You notice there might not be any music, but you might notice there is a live performance up in the top left hand corner of the screen. I'm just trying this out. I might add some music a little later to it, but for this review there's going to be none. And that's simply because Exodus is such a mainstream band that it would definitely get the video blocked and copyrighted. So, and I really don't fucking want that. Now, Exodus is one of my favorite thrash metal bands in history, and I do believe they have fairly earned that title. Very much so. I don't know. They've just been one of my favorite thrash metal bands for a fucking long time, and I've always loved and cherished their fucking music. Now let's get into the biography of this band. Exodus is an American thrash metal band formed in 1979 in Richmond, California. They have gone through numerous lineup changes, 2 extended hiatuses, and the deaths of 2 former band members. Rest in peace. Their current lineup consists of guitarist Gary Holt and Lee Altus, bassist Jack Gibson, drummer Tom Hunting, and lead vocalist Steve Zosa. There are no original band members actually left in Exodus other than Hunting, who has departed from the band twice now, in 1989 and in 2004, but rejoined back in the band in 2007. Holt, who replaced original guitarist Tim Angelo in 1981, has been the most consistent member throughout the various lineup changes and breakups, and is only one member to be present on each Exodus release since its formation. Exodus has released 10 fucking studio albums, 2 live albums, and 1 compilation album, and a re-recording of their first album, along with Metallica, whose longtime guitarist Kirk Hammett was an original member of Exodus as well. They are often credited as pioneers of the Bay Area thrash metal scene and have sold over 5 million records worldwide. Exodus is also considered to be one of the big 8 of thrash metal, along with bands like Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, Testament, Overkill, and Death Angel. The band had particular success in the mid to late 1980s with their first 3 studio albums, Bonded by Blood, Pleasure of the Flesh, and Fabulous Disaster. The critical praise given to Fabulous Disaster garnered the attention from major labels including Capitol Records, with whom Exodus signed in 1989. The band released 2 more studio albums, Impact is Intimate in 1990 and Force of Habit in 1992, before disbanding in 1994. After temporarily uniting in 1997 and 1998, Exodus reformed once again in 2001, and since then they have released 5 more studio albums, the most recent being Blood In, Blood Out from 2004, which would be the band's next studio album, Persona Non Grata, and it is due for release in the summer of this year, actually. So now let's get into the review of this album. The big for this, the big for that. We've heard it all before, ladies and gentlemen. And some of us have also heard of the significance of one of the first Bay Area thrash metal bands, Exodus, which originally had Kirk Hammett as their lead guitar player. Unfortunately, he wouldn't be with the band long enough for him to be a part of their smashing debut, Bonded by fucking Blood, one of their finest thrash metal albums ever created. that also set the standard for many thrash metal albums to come in the following decades. Now I do want to talk about argument that gets thrown around a lot, and I'm personally one of the people that believe that Exodus should have been in the Big Four. Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Exodus, not fucking Anthrax, because I feel like Exodus had a much, much, much more impact on thrash metal than Anthrax had in their whole fucking career. And that's not a diss at Anthrax. I think they have some fucking good shit, but in my opinion, Exodus just does thrash way fucking better. Now, Gary Holt and Rick Hunolt are very talented guitarists, but rather than create a complex musical masterpiece worthy of making the band the next Iron Maiden, they decided to cut some corners in order to make the songs more and more aggressive, which is just fine by me, because when it comes to thrash metal, the more aggressive, we all know, the more fucking better. Much of their riffs were somewhat simple, consisting of chugging E-note rhythms and a few basic power chords. Those were all the band needed to put such an intimidating and powerful sound. It is proof that you don't really need to be that intricate in order to please a crowd. Sometimes a simple riff could be all that would be necessary to get a circle pit going. Unfortunately, this simple formula would be ripped off by band after band, wannabe after fucking wannabe in the years that followed, particularly in the 21st century when retro thrash bands became all the rage. No pun intended there. That's why I don't fucking like a lot of fucking modern metal, because it's technically a fucking ripoff. Horse shit. Now we do got some good bands going in the modern wave of thrash metal, but that is a topic for another video. Now, Exodus has more than their fair share of stellar material, but Bonded by Blood has to be my all-time fucking favorite, particularly because of the vocal performance of singer Paul Baloff. His voice features the gruff and aggressive growls that is common among thrash metal bands, as well as some high-pitched barks and squeals that often go along with it. Those barks, squeals, and growls give the voice more energy and make it more powerful and heavy. I think it fits music better, rather than gruff, nasally vocal delivery of Paul Baloff's successor, Steve Zetro. Zuso, which can get a little annoying at times, I will say. Now, Zetro's voice also doesn't have as much power as Baloff's did, as Zetro sounds a little wimpy and whiny. Not that he's a terrible vocalist, though he does metal screams as well, but Baloff's voice conveys the rage and aggression of the music even further, while Zetro's voice merely supplants the music itself. Even if the lyrics are a little uncreative and unintentionally hilarious at times, Baloff delivers them quite fucking nicely. Also, a signature of thrash metal, and particularly of Exodus, is the fact that some of their music seems to display a sense of humor. No Love is a sort of bait and switch song in the sense that it tricks the unannihilated listener into believing that it's a sweet breakup song, using a somewhat passionate sounding song title and a light acoustic guitar solo that sounds so pleasant and pristine. Then after a minute the song strikes out full fucking force, playing Exodus' signature thrash metal sound and occult related lyrics, shocking the listener. In later years, their sense of humor would be more obvious as they did cover the infamous war song Lowrider on their Fabulous Disaster release, which I'll also get to reviewing Fabulous Disaster sometime in the future. I also fucking love that album, and I might even also do Temple of the Damned sometime soon as well, because I do love both of those albums as well. Now, that kind of humor would also be ripped off by many retro thrash bands, leading a lot of people to criticize the genre as dishonest and just plain old silly. The subgenre was meant to convey a sense of anger towards the oppressing authority and only a slight touch of humor, but sometimes with many retro thrash bands, the humor got quite out of hand at times, I will fucking say. The band only used humor at most only once or twice throughout each of their albums, keeping their usage light, and the same could be said for this album as well. When the aggressive of any of the big four isn't enough to please you, Bonded by Blood should definitely do the trick. The album is to thrash metal as To Kill a Mockingbird is to American literature, because it's an unspoken rule that all thrashers should have this album in their collection, along with any material released by the big four, except for Metallica's newer shit, and all of Exodus, or fucking not Exodus, Anthrax stuff as well. It's an excellent example of Bay Area thrash that many pizza thrash bands would rip off with New Millennium, which is a shame, I have to fucking say. They could make their original shit, but they tend to rip off fucking bands like Exodus. I also have heard the argument that Exodus is a pizza thrash band, like, and if you think that, I don't know what the hell you're doing, to be fucking honest with you. And it is a damn shame that people actually do say that. Since now this brilliant sound is made cliche because of them, nonetheless, it still stands as one of the greatest thrash metal albums ever created. Now, it's not the number one thrash metal album of all time, in my opinion, but it is definitely up there on one of them. And honestly, man, what else is there to fucking say about this album? I give this one a 10 out of 10 for sure. It's a legendary and classical fucking shit all into one right here. And how can you fucking not love Exodus? And that's going to wrap us up for this fucking review, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all having a good 2021 as it is beginning for you. I hope you all are having a good day, good night, or whatever. If you would like to see me review any other albums, leave them down in the comments below. I do take suggestions. I'm open to all genres of metal as well. And if you would like to join me or Chaos's Discord servers, the links for those will also be down in the description below. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Take care. Hope you have a good rest of your new year. And stay fucking metal.